Thank you for joining us. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Belinda Adhiambo. We begin with an eruption of political passions that gripped the country today as Kenyans turned the impeachment against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua into a referendum on the government, and specifically President William Ruto and his estranged deputy. In a sharply contrasting turn, some Kenyans that turned up for the public participation on the impeachment of Gachagua said the impeachment should send both the president and his deputy home. And as Ayub Abdikadir reports, the harsh verdict saw Kenyans invoking memories of the Gen Z-led June revolt, with some expressing loss of confidence in the government.
From the onset, the discussion changed course, taking a different turn altogether. Here, it soon became apparent that the president and his deputy are regarded as birds of the same feather. And for Kenyans, it would appear that the duo must suffer a similar fate. The Bomas of Kenya, the epicenter of Nairobi County's public participation exercise, providing a disgruntled public with the opportunity to audit their government, and an exercise meant to put under scrutiny Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, blowing back on the faces of lawmakers who are in attendance. It was probably least expected. An aggrieved public concerned about the country's economic downturn and punitive taxes, lumping both the opposition members present and the government together, giving a harsh scorecard to them.
Gachagua na Ruto wanastahili wote waende nyumbani. We cannot be joking. We cannot just be here joking and saying Gachagua must go alone. They must go, both of them. Ruto and Gachagua must go. Nimefika, watoto wakiona baba na mama waendelee vizuri wanawaambia kaeni nyinyi wote chini. Exactly. Mimi nimekuja kusaini na ikiwezekana nipeni makaratasi mbili ni sign.
Order! No, sit down! Sit down! Get back!
It was a similar script in Kakamega County, eyed by President William Ruto in recent forays, ostensibly to bring it to his fold along with Western Kenya. In Baringo County, angst and anguish characterized the public who came out, and from the same national hymn sheet, they sang.
Mwambia hawa sisi hatuwezi tenganisha hiyo harusi yao. Kama ni kutenganisha, wote wawili waende.
Mtu wa kwanza ambaye angelifaa kujiweka katika orodha ya kutimuliwa ni Mheshimiwa Rais Ruto mwenyewe. Jinsi amepanga serikali. Wanaposema Gachagua ni mfisadi, Gachagua ni mkabila, basi Ruto ni mkabila kuliko mtu yote Kenya.
Kwa nini tunakataa dereva tunaondolewa makanga? Kama makanga anaenda, dereva pia aende. Na tangu lini sisi kama wananchi wa Kenya tunachaguliwa deputy president kule kwa bunge?
At every given turn, the public expressing anger and condemning the state. It started out as an impeachment query against one, but ended up being a referendum question for two. And in a dramatic turn of events, the winter of discontent against the government in June and July spilling over into a summer of similar degree. The public handing President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua a harsh verdict and a poor half-term scorecard. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
Well, the Gachagua impeachment public participation exercise also saw the Kenya Kwanza government on the receiving end of widespread public anger over what citizens termed misplaced priorities. And as Brenda Wanga reports, the Adani saga, the health service transition and education are among issues listed by Kenyans as of greater priority than the impeachment of Deputy President Gachagua.
Today's topmost agenda on the political calendar was public participation on the ongoing process of the impeachment of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
So tunasema Deputy President ni kama president anafaa kuongoza nchi nzima, sio sehemu moja ya Kenya.
Members of the public from across the country turning up at various venues to voice their views on the defining moment for the Deputy President. But rising above the din of the pros and cons of impeaching the Deputy President was the voice of a public that is seemingly getting tired of the political leadership and the direction the country is taking. The public's mood a reflection of the prevailing social and economic situation in the country. There was no hiding the palpable dissatisfaction amongst those present here and across the country.
Wananchi wanaumia na tunaumia, mambo ya Gachagua itumizi sana sisi. Sisi kama Congress tunaumia kwa sababu ya mambo ya university fund. Tunaumia mambo ya NHIF.
Mambo yanatusumbua zaidi, tujue vijana tutapata kazi aje, tujue mambo ya uchumi wetu, tujue mambo ya ndani hii tunaambiwa.
NHIF, watu wanaenda hospitali wanashindwa kutibiwa. Lakini kitu nataka kusema, I have never seen stupid MPs who can go to the parliament and
Gachagua's impeachment debate serving to refocus the country's collective attention to the Kenya Kwanza government's misses.
Maneno yote mulipromise na Deputy President, there is not even one that has been fulfilled.
Wakimtoa Gachagua kutapatikana madawa hospitali. Wakimtoa Gachagua kutapatikana watu wale wajenzi waliuawa, watapatikana.
Hizi fees yetu, saizi school fees ni 1080 per semester. Our MPs, the priority ni kuimpeach Gachagua ama ni kuturudishia our old funding model.
The views of the public, largely those from the youthful bracket, showing a departure from the groupings that have dominated politics in Kenya, perhaps signaling a shift in the country's political landscape. Constitutional requirement of public participation on matters that affect the people seem to be gaining traction, with many Kenyans now demanding that their views be heard, especially when it comes to matters that are close to their hearts. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV, at the Bomas of Kenya, Nairobi.
And ugly scenes were witnessed at the Bomas of Kenya today when political activist Morara Kebaso was violently ejected from the public participation on the proposed impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Kebaso's ejection had been preceded by lively contributions from members of the public, with proponents of the impeachment stating that Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua should be shown the door for diving Kenyans. Emmanuel Tor reports.
This boy here. This boy here.
He arrived at the Bomas of Kenya with an expectation of a rousing reception. Accompanied by some of his new converts who have pledged allegiance to his anti-government crusade.
Political activist Morara Kebaso did not know what lay in wait for him. He had walked into a hostile environment. And in a split second, pandemonium. Chairs flying all over his head, tables overturned, a venue in disarray, and an activist in flight mode. His attempt to escape through one of the exit doors, graduating his situation from bad to worse. He was marooned and under siege.
Nairobi hoye! Hii ndiyo utamu ya Nairobi, si ndio? Nairobi si hami. Mtu anakuja hapa kuharibu mkutano, hatutakubali. Vijana hoye!
Some of his sympathizers whisking him away to safety and later on rushed to the hospital for medical attention.
Kama hujalikwa kwa mkutano yoyote na wewe sio member, usikuwa unakuja. Ukikuja utapatana nayo. Ukikuja utapatana nayo.
And when the dust settled, Nairobi residents drawn from the 17 constituencies got back to the business of the day as they trained their guns on DP Gachagua, accusing him of propagating tribal politics.
Na hiyo mlima yenye Gachagua anasemangu usiuguze mlima. Sisi ni wakadinali na tunamwambia hatuitishi ruhusa kuguza. Umesikia? Hatuitishi ruhusa kuguza. Hiyo mlima tutaguza na bado tunaguza.
Ndio tumalize ukabila Kenya. Ndio tumalize siasa ya shareholders. Ndio tumalize hii siasa ya kuchanganya watu. Gachagua.
Their call.
Nimekuja hapa kusema Gachagua must go. Sababu ya kusema hivyo, mimi ni Mkikuyu lakini mambo ya mlima wanatuletea saa ile wamekosana.
Kwa kauli moja kama wanafunzi, we are backing up the president solidly to ensure that going forward we'll get a good leader who will replace Gachagua.
However, the meeting did not last as had been scheduled, ending at midday instead of the planned 5 p.m. After thousands of Kenyans gave their views on the proposed impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, all eyes will now be going back to the National Assembly as the members prosecute the very motion that seeks to remove the Deputy President from office only 2 years after he took over as Deputy President. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV, Bomas, Nairobi.
Now, regions that were formerly strongly rooted in opposing the Kenya Kwanza government have today expressed their support for the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who they accuse of fanning tribal politics. In Kisumu, Mombasa, Homa Bay and Kakamega counties, residents pointed at Gachagua for alleged polarization of the country, supporting the 11 grounds fielded for the impeachment of the country's second in command. And despite the broad-based attempt to rope in opposition quarters into the government's fold, some residents still called for a total overhaul of the presidency. Laura Otieno with the details.
Chants that rent the air in Kakamega on Friday. Residents thronged this hall to render their opinions in the public participation sessions on the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. The Deputy President's remarks on the shareholder narrative haunting him. The former opposition strongholds united in pushing for his ouster from office.
Anaongea perepere. Sisi kama Wakenya tulimchagua kiongozi ya Wakenya wote. Hatukumchagua kiongozi wa Murima. Hata sisi hapa Homa Bay tuko na Murima ya Asego. Hatujaongea juu ya Murima yetu. Kwa hivyo tunamrudisha nyumbani.
Tumechukizwa sana na hii neno ukabila. Mlima si vizuri. Kwa sababu yeye makamu wa rais ni kiongozi wa kitaifa. Lazima akipanda kwenye jukwaa azungumze maneno ya kitaifa.
Sasa kampuni Gachagua pole kwa matamshi yako yasiyokufaa. Kilichomo nenda nyumbani.
However, there were dissenting opinions where, despite the president's recent broad-based approach incorporating senior members of the ODM party into cabinet, residents still called for an ouster of not only the deputy but also his boss, President William Ruto.
Kenya hii tuko katika nchi ya demokrasia. Kura ile ambayo tulipitia ndio Ruto kura ambayo Gachagua alipitia. Ikiwa president anataka Gachagua aende nyumbani, waende wote.
Akifanya campaign alikuwa anafanya campaign na Gachagua wakiwa pamoja. Sasa hizi mbona Gachagua tolewe na yeye aachwe? Hiyo ni ofisi yao, wanafaa kuenda pamoja. Mimi hiyo pekee ndo nimekuja hapa kufanya.
Some of those who are pushing for the ouster of both the president and the deputy were met with hostility, indicating the president's tightening grip in areas that were once a no-go zone. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
And in defense of Gachagua, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's supporters rallied to defend him against the impeachment motion, branding it a baseless witch hunt. They argue that the charges lack solid grounds and demand the motion's immediate withdrawal. Melita Oletenges reports that the Deputy President's supporters in Mount Kenya are not mincing their words.
Bold defiance against the impeachment motion and backing for Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua as he stares at a political abyss. Sentiments from the public participation gatherings in several areas of Mount Kenya, a show of solidarity with Gachagua against the threat of impeachment that threatens to kick him out of government and possibly send him to political oblivion. Many locals rallying, defying the trend by a majority of the region's MPs who signed on to have the deputy president impeached.
Hiyo mambo wamefanya, hiyo ni yao. Yetu hapa tumetoa maoni kama watu wa Kiambu, tumesema hakuna mahali Gachagua anaenda.
Laikipia tumesema Rigathi lazima maintain na lazima awe kwa ofisi. Na sasa wamekaa tu hivyo wakaona watoe Rigathi. Wanafaa waanzie na Ruto mwenyewe.
Mambo haya yote ambayo anazigiziwa, jambo la kwanza tunajua kwamba ni uongo mtupu. Jambo la pili ni porojo za wabunge wetu.
Gachagua criticized for seemingly favoring his backyard, enjoying support from residents. In his time of tribulations, many voiced support, some even saying he is without blemish.
Wanataka Gachagua akienda kwa wazee awaongeleshe kizungu. Na niulize Kimani Ichung'wa, wakati unaenda kwa wazazi wako kuwatembelea, unawaongeleza shanga ile kizungu unaongea kwa bunge?
All members of parliament from Kiambu County except Githunguri MP Gathoni Wamuchomba skipped the public participation events as Gachagua's supporters dominated the Kiambu social hall. Their absence speaking volumes in this ongoing sibling rivalry.
Wao wote tutaamua pale mbele kama wataendelea na kama wataenda nyumbani. Ikiwa ile jambo walikuwa nayo ni harari, wangekuwa hapa.
The mountain is restive but resolute about the impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, amplifying their loyalty to the self-proclaimed guardian of their mountain, insisting that what is good for the goose is good for the gander, and that a vote to impeach Gachagua from the echelons of power will be the biggest betrayal from President William Ruto to the region. Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV, Kiambu County.
Public forums to collect views on whether or not to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in many counties of central Kenya were disrupted over allegations of interference by members of parliament in the region who are for Gachagua's impeachment. In Gachagua's home county, Nyeri, the exercise carried on under heavy GSU guard, with the same exercise in Olkalau, Nyandarua County, turning chaotic. Let's get more from Kamau Mwangi.
A bonfire disrupts the flow of traffic on the Nyeri-Kingongo Road. The anger, a culmination of allegations that a similar exercise to collect views at a different location was underway, meters from the published Nyeri Culture Center venue, led by MPs from the county in support of Gachagua's impeachment. The early morning incident causing an impromptu demonstration, with pro-Gachagua supporters demanding the exercise be suspended. The activity attracting this contingent of GSU officers who came ready for any eventuality. A realization that the forms being filled did not have the same features, further hiking the irate crowd.
Sisi tunasema kwa sababu na mshike hawa kwa sababu ni wanapiki.
So mnasema hakuna kupeana pesa. Watu wafanye participation vile inatakikana. Na nini iwe serialized.
Tunasema aje? Wale kwa gazeti tunasema aje? Ni moja. Naenda pale in the newspaper. Venue imewekwa ni moja. Ni Kasha Center. Na mimi ndio host. Kwa hivyo hatuwezi kuwa na venue mbili.
In the neighboring Nyandarua County, the situation and allegations were no different. Residents here calling out MPs from the county who are for Gachagua's impeachment, accusing them of meddling with the exercise. It took the intervention of police to get the exercise going.
Hii yote ni utapeli, wachafanya maneno. Lakini tunataka kusema hata wapike hizo makaratasi. Hata waitengeneza namna gani, tunasimama na Rigathi mpaka dakika ya mwisho.
Na hizo makaratasi hazitaletwa hapa Karau. Kama public participation inafanywa, tujazie hapa Karau, lakini hakuna public participation nyingine inatakikana.
Kilometers away in Murang'a County, this car that sought to bring in public participation material from Gatanga constituency, following a public participation exercise yesterday, according to its occupant, bore the brunt of Kenyans that had thronged the Murang'a University venue on allegations it had material in support of the DP's impeachment.
Tuliingia eneo la Murang'a kuleta stakabadhi za watu wa Gatanga ambao walifanya public participation siku ya jana, na wakaamua kwa sauti moja wao hawasupport hiyo motion. Lakini kufika huku tuligojewa, tukapigwa, gari kapasuliwa vioo, tukapigwa na spray.
The exercise, however, went on uninterrupted in all three counties following police intervention. Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV.
Chaos erupted at the ASK showground in Nakuru after rowdy youth stormed the venue, lamenting that the public participation forum was illegitimate. The exercise was suspended but resumed 2 hours later when calm was restored. And as Marianne Nyambura reports, a different faction took to the streets protesting Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's impeachment motion.
2 hours after the public participation exercise on DP Gachagua's impeachment commenced at the ASK showgrounds in Nakuru, youth stormed the social hall, disrupting the exercise. The youth lamenting that the public participation forms are illegitimate.
Sai wametuletea karatasi yenye haina watermark, haina muhuri, haina nini. Wamesema Gachagua akae na kama anaenda waende wote na Ruto.
Fomu ambazo tumeletewa ni fomu za ukora, ni fomu ambazo si za kiserikali. Tunajua mipango ambao walio nayo ni kuja kusema ya kwamba walituita public participation na tukakuja. Wamezoea kusema ya kwamba we don't attend to public participations. Tuko hapa.
National Assembly officials who were conducting the exercise suspended the process for 2 hours. The rowdy youth left. Calm was restored and the exercise resumed.
Kuna idara za serikali, kuna EACC ambayo inahusika na mambo ya corruption, kuna hii nyingine ambayo inahusika na mambo ya kuleta uwiano wa raia. Hizo tuhuma angepelekwa pale ndio tuone kwamba hizi commissions zinafanya kazi.
Wakati tulipeana constitution ya 2010, kuna kazi tulipewa wabunge wetu. Kazi 3: legislation, oversight na representation. Saa hii tena tumerudi tunaanza kuwalaumu. In hali wanafanya kazi yao ya ku-oversight. Mbunge ana oversight the executive. So sisi kama wananchi, tukue wananchi wazalendo.
In Nakuru town, a section of residents took to the streets to protest the tabling of an impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, marching from the ASK showground to Nakuru CB.
Welcome back. In response to a court order, the National Assembly has extended public participation on an impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to tomorrow. In an effort to comply with the terms of the court order issued at the Kerugoya High Court, the clerk of the National Assembly, Samuel Njoroge, says the 290 constituency offices and 47 women representative offices will be open to receive views between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m.
Nasema ya kwamba kuna kipengele iko pale sisi inatunguza.
Many a government action have been overturned by the courts on grounds of public participation. In an effort to avoid suffering a similar fate, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, in consultation with the House Business Committee on Tuesday, announced that the Kibwezi West MP, Ekomas Mutusa's special motion for the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua
There are times when we used to say this is an open and shut case.
would be subjected to public participation on Friday. The House, however, faced its first hurdle in respect to this constitutional principle on Thursday, with the High Court in Kerugoya finding it unreasonable to cram constituents in one location in the various counties. The court ordering that the public hearings to be held on 4th October 2024 may proceed as a first stage of public participation, and that the first to fifth respondents shall organize similar public hearings closer to the citizenry, at least at constituency level, in each constituency in Kenya, to enable the constituents of members of parliament responsible for the impeachment process nationally to engage with and participate in hearings and or other suitable modes by which citizens on that level can participate and offer their representations. Justice Richard Mongo basing his order on the principles of public participation as laid out by the Supreme Court in the absence of a legal framework. Public participation must be real and not illusionary. It is not a cosmetic or public relations act. It is not a mere formality to be undertaken as a matter of course or just to fulfill a constitutional requirement. There is need for both quantitative and qualitative components in public participation. Public participation must be accompanied by reasonable notice and reasonable opportunity. Components of meaningful public participation include capacity to engage on the part of the public, including that the public must first be sensitized on the subject matter. The court, however, stopped short of pumping the brakes on the exercise, allowing the leadership of the National Assembly to course correct. In response, the clerk of the National Assembly, Samuel Njoroge, on Friday announced that in keeping with the court order, the House would continue to receive views from the public on the impeachment motion on Saturday in the 290 constituency offices and the 47 woman representative offices. There were mixed views from members of the public who turned up to participate in the exercise on Friday on whether it met the legal requirement of reasonableness.
Tunapewa muda ya kusoma. Na hawa wabunge wamekuja tu kutupea story badala watuelimishe vile hii kitu inatakikana ni nini inatakikana. Wao ni kutupea story tu na kuondoka.
Kuna mahali nimeongea mambo ati ya Gachagua vile alikuwa anaingilia serikali, vile amefanya hata ameingilia jaji, vile amefanya hata ameingilia ile soko ya marikiti. Vitu kama hizo ndio zimewekwa kwa hiyo karatasi. Lakini mimi nasema hapana, hakuna kitu kama hiyo.
As to whether the adjustment made by the National Assembly will be enough to pass the legal test, that remains up for legal interpretation. The courts pointing out that the mode, degree, scope and extent of public participation is to be determined on a case-by-case basis. Olive Burrows, Citizen TV.
And in Taita Taveta County, public participation in the motion to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua witnessed a low turnout, with less than 100 people turning up for the exercise organized by the National Assembly. Residents blame the political leadership in the county for lack of adequate awareness. In Molo, Nakuru County, residents failed to turn up for the exercise, citing distance from Molo to Nakuru ASK showgrounds where the exercise was ongoing. Francis Mtalaki has more.
With more than 181,000 registered voters as per the 2022 general election register, less than 100 people participated in a public participation session on the motion to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in Taita Taveta County. These empty seats at Mwatate CDF Hall conspicuous, with those turning up for the exercise blaming the Taita Taveta County political leadership for lack of adequate awareness on the matter.
Tumeona kwamba viongozi wetu wa Taita Taveta Mwatate wametubwaga kwa sababu hatukuwa na information yote. Hii information tumeanza kuipata kwa kupitia maeneo mengine. Kama mimi nimepata hii information kwa mtu ambaye ako Thika. Ndio amepiga simu kwa mama mwingine hapa town, tulikuwa hotelini, ndio hapo ikafanya nini? Akaelezewa, akaambia nyinyi hamna hiyo information, akasema sisi hatuna information yote. Mimi kudhibitisha kwangu nimekuja hapa mahali mkutano ungekuweko na hakuna watu.
The distance from Taveta, Wundanyi and Voi constituencies to Mwatate also said to be a challenge for majority of the residents. In Molo Nakuru County, residents failed to turn up for the exercise. A majority busy on the streets and at the market. They say the cost of transport from Molo to Nakuru ASK showgrounds locked them out.
Alete hayo makaratasi hapa mashinani kwa sababu hapa ndipo walichaguliwa, na kwa sababu walichaguliwa hapa na walitangaza kwamba maoni yanachukuliwa kutoka ward kwenda mpaka constituency. Hatujaona dalili zozote kutoka kwa ward kwenda mpaka kwa constituency.
Ninashangaa sana kwa sababu tumeambiwa tutoe maoni yetu kama Moro. Tukitoa maoni kama Moro tuenda Nakuru ni pesa tunaumiza.
In Narok County, residents said that the National Assembly needs to consider special groups, adding that a majority have been left out of the public participation exercise that has been extended by a day.
Kuna watu wengi katika kaunti ya Narok na wengine hawana fedha, wametoka bari, wengine hawakuweza kutokea kwa sababu wanatoka mbali, sehemu mbalimbali na hawana pesa. Kuna serikali ingetoa magari ya kwenda kutoa watu mashinani ama kupanga hii jambo na sub counties, lakini si kuangamiza wa Kenya. Mtu ana ile pesa yake anakula ndio anatoa kwa mfuko.
Mother tongue is disappearing and we need to use it even more because we are culturalists, some of us.
Francis Mturaki, Citizen TV.
Now, Kenyans supporting the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua say their main issue with the Deputy President has been his sentiments of shareholding and politics of Mount Kenya region. Kenyans from across the country say the statements make them feel left out on development matters and want a Deputy President who will embrace and defend development activities in all regions of the country. A section of those who support his removal have also appealed to him to resign and allow President William Ruto to select another principal assistant to take the country forward.
Utajiri wa bilioni 5 kwa miaka miwili. Aseme kwanza alitoa wapi? Sababu utajiri wa bilioni 5 si rahisi kupata hizo pesa ukiwa naibu rais. Kwa hivyo mimi kulingana mimi naunga mkono kwamba aende nyumbani kabisa, astahili kuwa naibu wa rais sababu yeye ni kiongozi wa mlima, tunahitaji kiongozi wa Kenya.
Kazi yenye anafanya anatacha mlima Kenya na tulimpigia kula all counties. Gachagua must go. Hiyo ndio maoni yangu.
Hii mambo ya Gachagua kusumbua Kenya ni mbaya. Amesumbua Kenya mzima. So yeye kama anasumbua Kenya, wacha tu aende. Mimi naamua tu kwa watu wa Baringo South sina toe mtu aende.
Hana heshima na rais wake. Kama yeye ni rais wake na namwambia asiguse mlima wa Kenya, ni nani ataugusa mlima wa Kenya? Jambo la tatu, anadhalilisha ofisi yake. Juzi nilimpata wanja wa ndege amebeba begi anaenda kutafuta ndege. Kama yeye anabeba mwenyewe begi yake, mimi alingome nitafanya nini?
Nchi inagawanyika vipande viwili. Hatujui ni kwa sababu gani ama makosa tulipiga kura. Sasa tunataka kujua kwa nini anafanya hivyo. Hafanyi kazi, yeye mambo yake tu ni watu wa mlima. Mbona hazungumzi kuhusu watu wengine, yeye anazungumza tu watu wa mlima. Kulingana
na vile nimepitia hiyo karatasi, nimempata kwamba amekuwa akihujumu mahakama na pia akiakwa na mheshimu pia rais. So nikaona kwamba ni vizuri tuende nyumbani.
His Excellency Gachagua, sio kwamba ungoje mpaka hii vote ipigwe. Naomba tu ujiuzulu. Na ukijiuzulu baba, enda relax. for us to have peace and for us to end things to do with the shareholding, one man called the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua must go.
Wewe huwezi kuwa deputy wa multi ya Mlima. Kila siku ukiamuka ni kuenda Nyeri, Embu, Tharaka Nithi, Murang'a, wapi, Kiambu. Lakini hatujawahi sikia Gachagua amekuja Busia amezungumzia maswala ya wananchi ya Busia.
Tufukuze Gachagua aende nyumbani. Mimi vile mnaniona hapa, mimi pia nimesoma, niko na degree yangu, lakini kitu iliniuma sana imekuwa ni aje Deputy President anaenda kwa graduation anaambia vijana hakuna kazi huko nje hata kama mmegraduate.
A section of Kenyans from different regions have defended Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua against the ongoing impeachment motion. During today's public participation across the country, some Kenyans opposed the impeachment, calling it malicious and claiming Gachagua was innocent and unfairly targeted. They vowed to oppose the impeachment.
Sasa hao watu wake wa Ruto wa chini wanataka kutukosoa, alafu tuhusishwe kwa makosa ambayo hatujui. Sasa sisi watu wa Nandi kabisa betapa tumekataa na tumesema Gachagua tena na Gachagua ndani na Gachagua na Ruto twende kasi.
Tukiangalia kwa manifesto ya Kenya Kwanza, impeaching the deputy president wasn't among the manifesto. But again, I don't see the reason why currently you are prioritizing it as an agenda.
Ruto na Gachagua hawataachana. Hawaachani. Kama tulipiga kura tukaweka kwa nini moja, ni lazima tukubali ya kwamba hiyo sahani iliwe na kila moja. Miaka 5 ni kidogo sana, wamalizie kazi yao. Wakishamaliza 2027 watatuambia ya kwamba hawataki.
Naibu wa rais hajatenda jambo lolote linalowezesha yeye kuenda nyumbani. Hivi ni vitina vya wale wanaomzunguka rais, wanataka kumwadhiri naibu wa rais.
Because wakiondoka walikuja pamoja. Ni nini hii haswa kwa miaka 2 imebadilika kwamba leo hii unaweza sema rais ni mzuri, naibu ni mbaya?
Mbona mnatuleta hapa tuimpeach Gachagua? Tuna impeach Gachagua kwa sababu gani? President ni kama baba na Gachagua ni kama mama. Hata kama mmesosana na bibi yako mnaongea na kuna msamaha.
My MP annoyed me by saying Gachagua must go without consulting me. So I have come here to say what I feel. Gachagua has not done anything wrong.